Tifu by making fun of anti-vaxxers at my new job in front of my pregnant and, apparently, anti-vaxxer manager. So I just started in this company a few weeks back. I'm your typical shy person that in the first few weeks doesn't say much and really needs some time to get comfortable with the new situation and new people. Starting this job it was no different. Now, a few weeks later I'm starting to feel comfortable around everyone and also starting to make jokes and joining non-work related discussions between co-workers. Somehow we landed on the topic of old diseases that nowadays barely occur. My manager named a few and I said that the ones she mentioned actually still exist in other less developed parts of the world. Then I jokingly said, and nowadays you don't know, with the rise of brain-dead anti-vax mums we might be again introduced to all kinds of weird and ancient diseases. My co-workers all cracked a laugh, but the look on my manager's face said it all and there was instant regret from my side. She raised her voice and started firing questions asking anti-vax mums are brain dead, rambling about the vaccines being the cause of autism and the pharma industry is trying to control the mind and body of her coming baby. It was one blasting tirade about how she is woke and butternut. I guess the coming year will be one really interesting one for me. TL Doctor joked about anti-vax mums in front of my manager who is pregnant, and apparently supports the anti-vax movement. Tension on the workplace ever since have been, so to call, quite high. Look on the bright side. Since you're vaccinated you can blame the joke on your autism. And if she tries to fire you, you can claim discrimination since she so firmly believes that vaccination causes autism. Edit, thanks for the gold. A doctor, a nurse, and your manager all walk into a bar. The doctor sits first and orders a shot of Jack Daniels. The nurse sits second and orders a shot of Jose Cuervo. Your manager sits last and says I'm sorry, but I don't do shots, then falls to the floor dead from polio. I am sorry for making fun of your medically disproven beliefs and conspiracies. Good thing you were around other co-workers, that way you have some backup if she tries to fire you. I wouldn't bring it up around her at all, but if she tears into you about it, stay calm, give educated answers, or ignore it. Good luck. Fixed typo. In my experience, HR makes final call on firings. If they already have this person trained, it's idiotic to fire someone because the manager has a personal vendetta, because that's a lot of money spent on training down the toilet. I understand that IT still happens, but it is very zucchini up that they can. These company I work for has a pretty extensive set of guidelines for how/why someone is getting terminated. To get fired on the spot you have to commit huge safety violations. You could come into work drunk and they will give you the choice of seeking treatment or losing your job. I'm sorry most companies suck, mine isn't perfect, but I really would have to butternut up to lose my job. At least you now know your manager is a moron. Sometimes takes months to find that out. Tifu by letting my parents have access to my bank account and student loan money. Backstory: my parents wanted me to learn responsibility with money when I was in middle school, so they opened a bank account for me with a debit card. They have complete access to it and can take out or add money if they want to. Multiple times while in high school I had money saved up in my account and they took huge chunks out because they needed it. I was paid back in increments when they took large amounts of money out, but I still don't think they have fully paid me back for all the money they took. Fast forward to now and I still haven't learned my lesson of keeping my money in a separate account that they don't have access to. I have to take our student loans to pay for school, tuition, rent, utilities, food, etc. I had $4,000 in student loan money in my account last month and I get a text from my mom saying she transferred all that money to her account so she could pay my rent in advance for the next couple months. I didn't understand why she did that because I've been paying my monthly rent just fine, but I said okay and didn't think twice about it until yesterday. My rent is due the first of each month and if my mom would have prepaid my rent, I should not have gotten a notification to pay it. But I did get a notification and I was confused. I logged online to look at my account and it said I needed to make a payment. I thought it was just an error or something, so I called the 24-hour hotline and they told me there was no payment ever made. I confronted my mom about about this and she said, "Oh Butternut, I forgot to pay it. Let me go pay it real quick." I was relieved, but only for a little bit. She came back later and told me my dad spent all my loan money on bills and Christmas gifts because he thought it was theirs. She told me she is sorry, but they don't have the money right now to pay me back because they don't have any extra money left over after Christmas. So now I have come up with enough money to pay my rent and utility bill and I'm out $4,000. I doubt I will ever see anything close to that $4,000 again. TL, Doctor. Parents have access to my bank account and mom took out my $4,000 in loan money to pay my rent. Dad spent all the money and they can't pay me back. I'm out $4,000. Edit. I have since created a new checking account online at a different bank and will be moving what money I have left into the new account and will be adding my direct deposit to the new account. Thank you all for the advice so far and the support. Edit 2. I am overwhelmed with the number of people who have PM'd me offering advice, kind words, and even offering me money or starting a GoFundMe. I'm amazed how much people would do for a complete stranger and can't express my gratitude enough. However, I was smart enough with my money last semester and have enough saved up to still pay my rent. I never thought I would need a rainy day fund so soon, haha. But I am okay and it would feel wrong to accept any of your money. You all are an example of how much good is in this world. It sounds like when your mother took that money out of your account, she knew what she was going to do with that money. You are an adult who has been paying their bills no problem. Why would she think it was her responsibility to take your money to pay your bills in advance without your consultation first? She needed the money and put the blame on your father after you confronted her about it. This is completely unacceptable and disgusting. They did what they wanted with your money while you are now figuring out how to pay your bills. I would highly suggest you confronting them with a way to repay you back immediately, whether that means a loan or selling something. It shouldn't be your concern where they get it from. Also, make sure you open a new account immediately. Don't even let them know which bank you opened it up at, even if it is the same bank. It is not their concern, as you are now an adult and clearly more responsible than they are. They broke your trust, essentially stole from you and lied about it. On top of the responsibility they taught you, I hope you learned some other things in the process as well. How the zucchini does $4,000 appear in their account and your dad not question it? Your parents stole your money. Not much you can do now, but you can change your account now so it will never happen again. Remind your thief of the mom she owes you that money every day. Yes, I am in the process of opening a separate account and will be transferring all my money to the separate account. I definitely am going to be reminding them about this money since it is such a large amount. Thanks for the advice. Immediately open a new bank account at different financial institution, transfer all money in the account your parents have access to the new account, and close that bank account. If you can't close it, go open a new one, transfer all money to that, and don't put another penny into the one that your parents have access to. Let them know, afterwards, that you have opened your own account and that you won't be using that one anymore and that they'll be responsible for all maintenance fees going forward since you weren't authorized to close the account. That's really butternut of them. Your parents shouldn't be taking any money out of your account without asking. I don't think they should ask their kids for money in the first place, but that's another story. Also, you are out more than $4,000. You will have to pay interest on that $4,000 that you didn't even get to spend on what it was intended for. Edit, added new financial institution. Also, don't let your parents forgive themselves. If you let them think this is okay behavior, then they will continue it. Not everything works for everyone or every family, but I would write down how much they owe you and continue to add interest, whatever rate you have, on it while it's unpaid. Also, when asking for your money back, never say you want it, always say you need it, or they might think this isn't important. Good luck, Hop. My sister has dealt with similar problems from our parents. When she was younger, she was always saving money. My parents, being terrible with money, were always short on cash and so borrowed money from her all the time, rarely paying it back. When she was in college, she ended up having some mental health problems and went to a mental hospital. As you may know, those are expensive. My parents claimed that since they had to pay for her visits, they didn't owe her any of that money back. But here's the kicker, they didn't pay off her bills. She only found out once she started receiving collection calls. Because of my parents, her credit score dropped to 150, the lowest it can go. And my parents won't admit that they did anything wrong. What? Your parents suck, dude. If I were your sister, I would find any documentation she has on any money they've ever borrowed, and tell them to start paying the debt collectors, or they owe every penny they've ever borrowed from her up front. If they refuse, small claims court. Tifu by ingesting my BF's chemo. Figured it out today, but have been cheesecake up for 3 weeks. BF started chemo and has been very fortunate to be feeling pretty okay. So our cheesecake life has stayed at a normal level. Probably even more active since, well, he's terminal. I've been having horrible nausea and headaches. I already have anxiety, so I figured I'm just a mess over the cancer, kids, job stress, etc. and making myself sick. This morning I woke up queasy again and joked about having sympathy chemo symptoms. I Google, and no, that's not a thing, but second-hand chemo exposure is. Through bodily fluids. Symptoms include nausea and headaches. The periods of me feeling bad line up perfectly to his treatments. I've been letting my dude nut poison in me, folks. You're supposed to use condoms for several days after chemo and also not swap a bunch of spit. Now that I know this, it seems super obvious. But guess I was too cheesecake to think it through. Doctor did dirty deeds with my BF's chemo banana and got sick from it. ETA, thanks for all the well wishes and debates on my stupidity. To answer as many questions as I can, and also because I feel mildly defensive, he is stage 4, with literal dozens of bone mets. There is no cure but no timeline either. We probably have a few more years. He is in excellent care at a renowned university program. We adore his team. I've been at every appointment, taken notes, blah blah. This was not reviewed with us, only side effects. The separate bathroom/wear gloves thing was reviewed with the couple next to us, and we even wondered aloud what kind of scary chemo they were getting. We didn't read the pamphlet because this ain't his first chemo rodeo, but it is mine. So all of us, including his care team, let it slip through the cracks. We're only in our 30s, but our best guess is they figured he'd be too weak for zucchini. Or they just forgot. Or they figured we'd read the info. Butternut happens. Edit 2, please stop hitting on me in my DMs, Jesus cheesecake Christ. I've heard of STIs but never sexually transmitted treatments. Edit, yay, my new highest scoring comment. I'd like to say that as a cancer survivor myself, I missed my shot to learn this myself, both by being too young to be sexually active at the time of chemotherapy and by not having a serious relationship with a girl until I was in my late 20s. As a pharmacist, this makes me upset that you guys weren't counseled more thoroughly on the medication. As a nurse, an oncology nurse even, that was my first exact thought as well. This is so disgusting on the healthcare side. They should have been more informed. Someone could have been really hurt. Please talk to your own doctor about this. Depending on what treatment he is on, this could have serious consequences for you. Increased risk of cancers in the future, impaired fertility, etc. It is more than likely not a big deal, but you should at least know the potential consequences of this. Source, am a GP married to an oncologist. 8. Choosing not to clarify the tilde acronym tilde initialism given the quality of guesses. I am so sorry to hear about the status of your boyfriend's cancer. He's lucky he's got you by his side through it, and also that you're both able to keep your senses of humor throughout it. May you both have as much time together as possible, keep the laughter going and enjoy what time you have. Can't believe no one else seems to be commenting on the fact that your BF is terminal. My deepest condolences.